Starting your crochet business does not have to be complicated. I binge watched every single video I could possibly find on this topic, and today I'm bringing you all of the tips, all of the tricks, everything you need to go from literally nothing to your first few customers. Before I get too into the weeds on what it takes to actually run a crochet business, I want to talk about everything you need to do and figure out before you actually launch. So let's start with step number one, which is figuring out where you are going to sell. Now, these days, most people are doing things online, and the big four that I heard mentioned was Etsy, having your own website, Depop, and TikTok shop. Now, out of these, the big two really are Etsy and having your own website, and I'll dive deeper into the pros and cons of both of these in just a second. You can also sell in person, which is basically just going to markets. From what my research told me, this is kind of a whole different beast in and of itself. And I personally don't have any experience with this, but I love doing my research. So if you want a video on how to successfully sell at markets, let me know. All right, pros and cons of the big two, Etsy versus your own website. So with Etsy, you really have no or low startup costs. You don't have to pay anything to start your Etsy store, and it's only 10 cents to list your items. That being said, while it is cheap in the beginning, once you start leveling up and growing a bit, you do pay a significant amount in fees. So instead of paying upfront, you're kind of paying on the back end. And Etsy also claims to bring in their own organic traffic. So this is traffic that Etsy directly sends to your store that you are not at all responsible for generating yourself. Now, personally, I feel that Etsy has gotten extremely competitive, and we're seeing a huge influx of AI and drop shipping and just kind of just like a general decrease in appreciation for handmade products. So I do think that the benefit of this like organic traffic from Etsy is maybe not as strong as it was in previous years. So just something to keep in mind. Now, the real con here is that there's little to no brand building. And if you go to Etsy and you look up a product, you'll see that there's really minimal areas where you can put your logo, put your store name. And so it's just hard to like build a relationship with your customers because they don't even really know what store they're buying from. They're just buying whatever product they click on. Now, with your website, you do have an increased customization. So you can really make it yours. You can put your face on there. You can put your branding on there, your colors, your logo, all of that. But that being said, there is more customization. So it is a little bit more effort in the beginning to get everything started up and looking good. And like I just mentioned, you can really build your brand here. So you can have your face, have your logo, all of those things so that you are building a relationship with your customers and they're coming to your store, not just because they need a product, but because it's your store, if that makes sense. The con here is that it is higher cost to start. So not just financially, but as I mentioned, kind of getting everything set up. It takes a little bit more time in the beginning. So, my recommendation, if this is something that you're just dipping your toes into and you want to see if it works, like maybe you could make it work, maybe not, do the Etsy. Like don't invest a bunch of time and money into something that you're just like gonna try out. If this is like your dream, your passion, like you are going to make your crochet store successful no matter what, do the website. It is the better long-term play. Yes, it is a financial investment up front, but I do believe it'll pay off loads and loads and loads down the line because you're immediately starting to build this relationship with your customers that you really can't on Etsy. Like you want people to see your face, to know your brand, and you're just not going to be able to do that on Etsy. So bear that in mind when you're deciding on where to sell. Now, the next question is what to sell. What are you actually selling? And the big two here are either physical products or digital products. So, physical products, this is, physical plushies, clothes, accessories, etc. This is you like literally sitting down and like crocheting the item and selling that. Digital products, these are patterns, but you can also do like cheat sheets, planners. I don't know. I would even include in here like crochet accessories, so like personalized hooks or rings or I don't know, yarn bowls, like any of those things that you're not like physically making with your hands. With physical products, I think this is where a lot of people like to start and where a lot of people should start, because it's what you want to do, right? Most people, they when they want to start a crochet store, they want to actually like sell their crochet items. That's kind of the whole point for them. That being said, it is not sustainable, unfortunately. And you're seeing this more and more, like as crochet creators gain more followers and build their branding more, they shift more and more into the digital space because it's just a lot more sustainable and scalable. So I would say if you want to go the physical route, you absolutely can. Just make sure that you have some sort of plan to add in digital income streams as you go along. I think digital products are really where it's at. They're much easier to make. Um, I honestly think you can be a lot more creative with them, especially with pattern making. And yeah, I think it's the way to go, but that's just me. All right. So, with physical items specifically, you actually have two business models that you kind of have to choose from, which is drops or made to order. Drops is where you have exclusive products that you release in bulk. So, I don't know, once a season, once every 3 months, whatever you decide. You build up all of this hype around your store and you say, like, hey, like new products are dropping, and people come and buy those products, hopefully. Made to order, this is where you have like a handful of items that you create as a customer orders them. So you have a shirt, a plushie, an accessory, and you just wait for people to place orders on those things and then you actually physically make them. So it's really just the difference of making before you sell versus making after you sell. Let's talk pros and cons here. So with the drops, you have a lot more creative freedom. You can basically just make like what your heart desires at that point in time, right? Um we also generally see that these products have higher pricing. So because they're exclusive and you're only making a few of them, you can generally charge a little bit higher prices here. Now, the con, again, just from my research, is that there is a little bit more of creative burnout because you're constantly having to come up with new items that you're selling, make them, more interesting, more exclusive, more creative. And if you don't have a good system for coming up with new ideas on a good rhythm, then this can be tough. That being said, I do think that you can come up with a good system to avoid this. With made to order, you have little ideation. So you really should only have, I would say, like 3 to 5 maybe core products that you're selling. So you're not making like a million things. You're just selling like these 5 core products. And you don't have to continually come up with new ideas. Because you're only selling like these 3 to 5 products, this should streamline production, right? You know what pattern you're using, you know how to make it, and hopefully that should help you like get faster at actually crocheting the item. The con here is that you're stuck in a box, right? You only have these like 3 to 5 items. You're not constantly like coming up with new creative endeavors. You just like kind of got your base. And I would say here, it's really up to you. Again, I see bigger creators that have a good following and have a like substantiated business shifting from the made to order model to the drop model. up to you. All right, let's talk branding because I do believe this is a really important part of starting your store. Um, and the number one thing I want to talk about is your unfair advantage. Now, I go a lot more in detail on this on my other video. I'll link it up here. But what I want you to take from this is that being you is your superpower. Like, there's this saying that goes, I have to be myself, everybody else is already taken. And in a saturated market as this, the only way to stand out, like the only way to be different and new is by being you because everything else is already taken. So really like divulge in your interests, divulge in like your weird hobbies, find a mix between like crocheting and one other hobby that you have and just like make it work. Again, I go more in detail on this. If you want to watch the full video, check it out. And the reason why this is important is because the more niche you are, the more sales you will actually make. If you are catering to an extremely broad audience, so is everyone else. And you're just going to have this insane competition there. We want to find like your thing and your people because those people that want this like specific niche, they can only come to you to get that. They're not getting it from anywhere else. So we essentially want to create an environment where you are one of one. Like there's no one else like you. If your customers want a product like yours, they can't go to anyone else to get it. They have to go to you. Okay, I do want to talk a little bit of logistics here with branding. You want to create your store name. Keep this really simple, especially in the beginning. And I highly recommend, because building a personal brand, I'm going to talk more about this later, is super important. Include your name in the brand. Lola Crochets, Emily's Creations, whatever. Make it simple. Keep your name in it. And then you do want to create a logo. Don't make this complicated. Pick your favorite colors, go onto Canva, pick one of the like presets that they have, make it your own, but keep it simple. Don't go too crazy on this. You can always change your logo later. You want to add your bio to all of your socials. So now that you have a crochet business, you are going to have to market it on social media. And I would honestly recommend just picking one social media to start with. I'll talk more about marketing later, but you want to make sure that your bio is updated. You want to make sure that people know, like, hey, you can buy my stuff. This is where you can get it. So just update it with something like username should be the same as your store name. So Lola Crochets, find my products here, and then throw the link in there. We just want to make sure that it's super easy for people to find like where your products are. And I do also recommend, whether you are creating your own website or you are getting an Etsy, that you invest into your own domain. And again, we just want that domain to be the exact same as your username, the same as your shop name, www.lolacrochets.com. Keep it simple. Do that. And yeah, like I said, get a custom domain for Etsy. You can do it when you're starting up. If you want to see a full video on how to set up an Etsy store, let me know. That could be good. Okay, let's talk supplies. I'm going to keep it simple here, y'all. You need yarn, you need hooks, you need stitch markers, eyeballs, whatever. Keep it simple. Start out with just 1 to 2, maybe 3 products that all use the same color palette so that you're not buying like 10 different colors yarns. Focus on like, I don't know, I would say like 2 to 5 maximum, and just start there. And whenever you can, if you can, again, make the investment up front, buy in bulk, buy in wholesale. It's going to be cheaper, and that's just going to help you make more profit in the long run. Pricing, the dreaded pricing. Do not underestimate this. I genuinely believe that this is like the determining factor of your success and your motivation. Because if you spend all of this time and all of this energy making a physical product or a digital product and then underselling yourself, like the sales that you do make won't even feel good because you're like, damn, I spent all of this time on this and I don't even think it's worth it. So don't undersell yourself. And a piece of advice that I have for you is that if you respect your work, others will too. And if you price your products extremely cheaply, it might make you more competitive, but it might also scare people off. Like people might ask, why is this so much cheaper than everyone else's? It must not be as good quality. So just keep that in mind. Do your market research. So if you are selling a watermelon plushie, go onto Etsy, search up watermelon plushies. What are other people selling their products for? And then price yourself in the beginning, maybe on the lower end of that scale. Or if you feel really confident about what you're making, girl, put it on the higher end. Do it. If you are like me and you need a more substantiated like calculation and not just like hooey market research, this is the calculation that you should use. So the price of your materials plus your hours worked multiplied by your hourly rate. So when you're just starting out and maybe you want to keep your pricing a little bit more competitive, just have your hourly rate be a little bit lower. But as you scale, this should scale with your work. And keep in mind that like the hours that you worked on the project, like on your digital pattern or on your physical product, is not the only hours that go into it, right? You're going to have to start doing customer service stuff, marketing stuff, and you want to make sure that you're pricing with that in mind as well. Again, when you're starting out, keep it simple, but I don't want you to undersell yourself. As a bonus tip here, I thought I included this, but I guess I didn't. If you want to be even more competitive, especially on Etsy, you can offer free shipping and then just add the average cost of shipping into your price. Everyone does this, okay? No one offers genuinely free shipping. It's just calculated into the price. So, okay, launch. Now, for launch, I want to go over the two scenarios. And in order to explain this, we're just going to take a trip to La La Land away from crochet. And I want you to imagine two people that are both wanting to get better at running. Now, person number one, they plan everything, right? They spend weeks researching what the best shoes are, what the best gels are, what like training regimen they should follow, looking at the trails in their area, joining a run club, and they spend 2 weeks just like thinking about running and planning the running, and then they finally go on a run and they're like, oh my God, this sucks, because running kind of sucks. And they just think, wow, I just invested all of this time and all of this money into this thing, and I don't even really like it that much. That was stupid. And they never do it again. Person number two, they say, you know what, I want to get better at running. And for 2 weeks, they just go out and they run. And they don't really plan anything or have any expectations beforehand. They just do it. And in 2 weeks, they are incrementally improving themselves every single time, right? That first run, it doesn't feel good at all. And the second run probably doesn't feel good either. But they're seeing themselves improve and they're like seeing that they can get better at this. And the same thing applies here to your launch. So you can plan and plan and plan and plan, and you can try to think of like everything that might go wrong and make sure that it doesn't go wrong. And then you launch and it still goes wrong, and then you're defeated. Or you can just go into it with low expectations and do it. So the point I'm making here is like, you only fail if you quit. And I know that launching can have this like big build up to it. It can be very like anxiety producing, and you want to be this like overnight success. And it probably won't be like that. So I want you to like reach into your pocket, pull out a little bit of grace for yourself and sprinkle it over yourself, because you're doing fine. And this is a marathon and not a sprint. You're not going to be an overnight success sensation, but if you keep at it, you aren't going to fail until you quit. So, okay, you've launched. Now what? Because now the hard work actually starts, unfortunately. Let's dive straight into marketing, the bane of every creative's existence, right? Social media. And I have some unfortunate news here, guys, but we can't skip out on social media anymore. It's just, you're leaving money on the table if you aren't investing into it. The key here is to make it fun and to make it you. You don't have to be on social media like everybody else is. You just have to be on social media how you want to be on social media. And as long as you keep showing up and you're making it fun and you're slowly improving, it'll get better. And I want to talk about a mindset shift here. You do not need millions of followers or thousands of followers to make a sale or to build a successful audience. I believe that you really only need like 50, maybe 100 like loyal people that really get you. And that's all you need to run a successful business. Just 50 people that are like into your stuff. So focus on that when you're on social media. And in the beginning, it is all about volume. So again, you can go down this rabbit hole and like figure out how to post the absolute best Instagram post, how to make the best YouTube videos, or you can just sit down and you can just pump stuff out and slowly get better as you go along. Now, what is the best platform? Well, like everybody else on the internet, I am biased. So I am going to focus largely on YouTube. Why YouTube? And I have a little statistic for you guys to back me up. 73% of consumers are more inclined to buy after viewing long form videos. Okay, the only platform that you can post long form videos on is YouTube. So keep that in mind. Now, the other bonus with YouTube is that you can really build your personal brand. So you can infuse into your videos, not just that you're, a crocheter and you have a store, but you can also talk about your love for coffee or Taylor Swift or cats or whatever. And people are going to like you more because they feel connected to those things, right? They feel connected to you. They feel like they're your friend. And eventually, people people will just want more of you because it's you. People will buy from your store just because it is you and not somebody else. It is a long-term play. I want to be frank with that. Like YouTube does take longer to grow on than other platforms, but again, if you're in this for the long haul, if this is like I'm going to make this work, focus on YouTube. The other nice thing about YouTube is that you have the potential to set up a billion different income streams. So not just your AdSense revenue, but you can also get, brand partnerships. You can do affiliate marketing and millions of other things. So for me personally, I would say start investing some time into YouTube because it will pay off in a year, in 2 years, if you stick with it. Okay. What else do I have here? I don't even know. Oh, yes. Okay. There are some alternative ways to marketing your stuff. So it's not just social media. Number one, you have ads, which obviously you have to pay for. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things. I think this is something that you can play around with a little bit and see how it works out. I think it can help in the beginning, especially if you are selling on Etsy to get like those first few sales, those first few reviews. But what's important to keep in mind here is that you need to make sure your product is good and that people actually want it. Because if nobody actually wants your product and you have an ad for it, it doesn't matter how many people see the ad, no one's going to buy it. You can also reach out to other brands, other influencers, or other media sources and get like basically like free marketing that way. Like I know it sounds silly, but reach out to your local newspaper, talk to them about your creative crochet shop, and maybe they will um, put you in their newspaper, and you can get, I think, a substantial amount of customers that way. So don't knock the alternative ways to marketing. All right, really quick, we do need to talk about using analytics because this is important. So in your Etsy store, in your shop, on social media, we are going to use my ditch and dig process. This is really simple, okay? We want to ditch what isn't working and we want to dig into what is, okay? So look at your products. What is not selling? What videos are you posting that are not doing well? What do people not resonate with? Those are the things that we want to just cut off, be gone, get rid of it. And then look at what is working. What products are selling? What videos are people like really into? And we want to dig into that. So, how do I make more of it? How do I make it better? And how do I make it different? Those are the three things you want to focus on: more, better, different. Time management. So fun, right? So when you start your crochet business, guys, I need to set some expectations with you. Unfortunately, you will not just be crocheting all day long. You are now running a business, which means that you have back end things to worry about. You have customer service to worry about. You have, God, like taxes and all of these other things that you don't realize you need to do until you kind of get into the weeds. I personally use a block schedule when I'm planning my day, and I like to set like really specific daily goals here. So I know exactly what I'm doing for basically like every hour of the day. I have an upcoming video going way more into detail on this, so if you want to hear more, be sure to subscribe. Okay. I think this is our last thing, guys. We're almost there. Motivation. This is important, okay? Now, I want to talk about this graph. And I first saw this graph from a different YouTuber. Her name is at My Name is Dea. She's wonderful. And she talks about the dip. So, you know when you're starting a new thing, let's say like you're going to the gym, right? You get your new gym membership. It's super exciting. It's super fun. You're like, I'm going to go to the gym every single day. I'm going to lose all this weight. I'm going to look sexy for summer. It's going to be so good. And you're like on this high up here, right? And then you start hitting the gym and you're realizing like, oh, this is actually like kind of hard and I have to do this every day for the rest of my life and I can't eat ice cream and I can't eat pizza and this is actually really hard. Now, I like to think of this as like when you're up here, you don't you don't even know what you don't know. Like you think you know more cuz you don't even know all of the information that there is out there. When you're here in this dip, it's like you know everything that you don't know. And it is scary, right? You're like, "Whoa. I'm a beginner. I'm a baby. Like, I don't know how to sell on Etsy. I don't know what SEO is. I don't know how to make videos. I don't know how to market myself. I don't know how to pick a niche. Like, this is insane. There's so much stuff that I need to learn, and I don't know how to do it." And right here, this dip, this is where most people, they're out. They're on to the next thing, right? They want to get back here on this hill. The truth is that real success and real results come from when you push through on this dip. So, one of the ways that you can trick yourself into pushing through on the dip is expanding your time horizon. And I'm going to reiterate this, what I said earlier. You probably aren't going to be an overnight sensation. Maybe you will. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you will, but you probably won't. But guys, I believe in you. Like, I have this energy about you that you can do this. And especially if you stuck around to the end of this video, I know you want this. I know you want it. And I'm telling you, if you stick with it, if you don't quit, if you keep improving and just learning more day by day, like little bits and pieces here and there, you will succeed. You will do it. You will do it. Okay, guys, if you want to be in a community with other people that are on this exact same road with you, if you are feeling this dip and you're by yourself, that's when it's the most dangerous. So I invite you to come join my completely free community of other crochet artists that are starting their business, marketing their business through YouTube, and you even get to come and work with me personally. I host workshops, I host one-on-one meetings. I would love to see you in there, and y'all, you guys got this. Okay, see you in the next video.